the good and the not so good from Trey Lance's outing?
Well, I mean, it's funny. I did the right after the game, live stream, and I would say 90% of the people were like, "He sucked. Trade him. He's terrible. He's awful."
Get him off the team.
Flav was going off.
God love him.
There was a lot of discontent about the performance. Now, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go and pretend that I'm, a quality control guy. And I'm going to go spend crazy amounts of time looking at just his plays. And really, so I have a total autopsy of what he did. And what I found, Grant, is that he played 27 plays. And of those 27 plays, 7 were runs and 20 of them were passes. Of those 20 passes, 2 of them you could attribute to offensive line meltdowns. I mean, 2 were so bad of offensive line meltdowns that you couldn't do anything but attribute it to offensive line meltdowns. The other 18 were broken down in 10 good plays and 8 poor plays. 8 plays where I think you could question him. 10 plays where I think he had the right read. Everything looked good. So, that's what I got out of it. He 8 bad passing plays is a lot in 20. But what I also saw was that they got 1 yard in their first 9 plays, their first 3 series, 1 total yard. And after that, it looked a whole lot better. He started slow and finished fast. So, give you an example, like play 27, I thought was a good play. Play 26 was a very good play. Play 25 was a very good play. He had a number of good plays. But people remember the 2 non-interception interceptions. Those things stick out because people see that and they see the overthrow of Dwelly in the flat, and those things stick out. But to me, it was uneven, and that's probably the best thing I could say about his performance. It wasn't tragic. It wasn't like, oh my God, this guy's never going to be a quarterback. They might as well just cut him. It wasn't like, hey, Sam Darnold is undoubtedly the number 2 quarterback and the whole thing is over. Call it. It's not, and I've heard a lot of that. It was a young quarterback who had 318 pass attempts. I'm not making excuses, but we're talking about a guy with 8 career games, 4 career starts, and hadn't played since early last September in a competitive environment. And he started slow, but I thought it was inconsistent and not great, but it wasn't like defining or end this competition right now, as many, many, many people are saying today.
Yeah, I felt like it was undeniable he made a few bad decisions. And I thought he was late on several throws. The one that was the touchdown pass, I thought he was late. Conley was open. It was the last guy in his progression. Maybe it's tough to get there that quickly, but you could call it a bad decision. You could call it late. Kyle seemed to like it. But that was an example, just being a tick late on a lot of throws. That being said, it was a complete meltdown on offense. And I think it was interesting that a lot of people wanted to blame Trey. It was everyone. The way I saw it from the press box, they started off with a lot of 3-step drop concepts in the passing game with Trey Lance under center. So he'd take the 3-step drop, and a lot of times whoever the number 1 receiver was supposed to be was not open. And then Nick Zakel or Jalen Moore was getting destroyed. So could Trey have been better? Yes. But I also thought he didn't get a lot of help. And as you said, he got better as the game went on. I think he showed his accuracy, his improved accuracy, and I think he showed his improved throwing mechanics. That throw over the middle to Chris Conley was really nice. It was really nice. On 3rd and 8 for 20 yards, 25 yards.
You're talking about one of the towards the back end of his performance.
Yeah, in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice. And it was kind of understandable that he started slow, given that he hadn't had real game action in 11 months, and the fact that they opened with 8 throws and 9 plays, which is not exactly Niner football. Once they started using the running game, I felt like he settled in, and I think that helped Sam Darnold in the 3rd quarter as well.
Darnold, I thought, looked pretty sharp. He did have that one perfect dime to Ronnie Bell. He dropped it in his lap. But I mean, Darnold's played 5 years in the NFL. And the other guys played 8 starts. I think the one that you're talking about was play 19 on the bullet to Conley. Basically, it was 3rd and 10 from their own 35. They're in the 3 wides. Trey's in the shotgun, right?
Yep.
And he threw a bullet to Conley on the in route. It was an excellent throw. The ball was on time, and it hit him in the hands. Yeah, that was a great throw. That was one of his good plays. And if you look at the back end of his performance, there were more good plays on the back end, and there were more poor plays on the front end. Now, only thing I would push back on you is I did see you say that you felt like Kyle was putting him out there a little bit, like, passing him too much early. I actually looked at it the opposite way, Grant. I think when you throw on first down, like, let's go back to the beginning of his performance. He threw on first down on the first play that he had, right? And that's when he got Jalen Moore got beat by Jordan Willis, and Zakel got just bull rushed into his lap by John Jenkins, and Trey didn't react to the sack, didn't react to the pressure, didn't move back, kind of feet got kind of frozen, and it was an easy sack. But as far as the decision to throw on first down, I kind of thought Shanahan was trying to bail him out, because the Niners, from what I could tell, did not run the ball well in Vegas in the practices, and he knew they're going with their second string O-line. He probably ran past him on first down on 2 of the first 4 first down plays instead of had a running play, just simply because you're trying to give the quarterback a chance to not just run on first down, run on second down, 3rd and 8. All right, drop Trey back to pass. Everybody knows he's going to pass. I thought he was actually trying to benefit him a little bit by throwing him.
I don't have a problem with Trey throwing on first down. I don't have a problem with throwing on first down. Yeah. I do have a problem. Not a problem. I'm confused about calling 8 throws in the first 9 passes, because Kyle never does that. And it's either he wanted to reveal what he feels about Trey, or he wanted to showcase Trey. And he was thinking, if I give him all these throws, there will be more for teams to look at. But I just feel like, man, that's not your identity on offense. You guys are a run first, play action pass second team. That's how you call plays for Sam Darnold. That's how you call plays for Brock Purdy. What is that? But anyway, after those 3, especially when you got 3 sacks in those 3 series, and 2 of them weren't his fault, according to Kyle Shanahan. So, dude, protect him. He could get hurt. The last time he played a preseason game against the Raiders, he broke his finger and it wiped out 2 years of development, according to Kyle. So, I don't know. Anyway, those 3 series were strange. I thought it was a complete meltdown from Trey to Kyle to Jalen Moore to everyone. But then the second quarter started, and it seemed like everyone picked it up a little bit, not just Trey, but Kyle too. I would like to see, real quick, I want to point out what Kyle said on the conference call like an hour ago about this, because I feel like
I was not on the call, by the way.
Okay. I feel like Kyle's been surprisingly positive and encouraged by this. I was expecting him to just crush Trey. But really, he's taken the opportunity to be like in Trey's corner on this. And he said he got better as the game went on, that the first 2 sacks weren't his fault, that he was decisive, that he wasn't hesitating as much. He was playing faster and more aggressive. That's a direct quote, playing faster and more aggressive. And so I think that's kind of interesting. It doesn't sound like Kyle Shanahan is, unless I'm misreading it, it doesn't sound like Kyle Shanahan is preparing to trade Trey Lance anytime soon. Seems like he wants Trey to stick around, even if Trey isn't going to start for a while.
I mean, the super cynical person could say he's saying whatever he's saying to maintain, trade value, blah, blah, blah. I just think that if you look at this game.
That didn't go up yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. It did not go up yesterday.
That didn't go up yesterday, no.
I would say this, though. I think if you judge Trey's performance in the first 9 plays, you would think he was terrible. If you judged him from play 10 to play 27, you would have a different perspective.
Yeah.
I just think those first 3 drives, which, as I said, it was 9 plays. It resulted in 1 total yard. It was 3 3-and-outs. He just looked a little frenetic. He looked a little frazzled. He looked a little uncomfortable.
Rusty.
And
can we say rusty? Can we say rusty for a quarterback who hasn't played in 11 months?
Well, yeah. I mean, he hadn't played since week 2. But he just looked a little like, a buddy of mine who scouted him, who feels like he knows him. I called him last night, and he's like, you know what? I actually look at that as a good thing. And I said, why? Give me your reasoning. And he said, because it shows how bad he wants it. If it's like, if you don't care, you're just out there kind of slinging it. But if you really, really want it, you're going to, you may be nervous and you may have nerves and you may see those nerves up front. And at least that's what this guy thought. And this guy was in Fargo, was on campus, and has scouted this player before. So he said, hey, look, I thought he looked like he's a young guy who badly wants to succeed and looked really nervous and looked uncomfortable in his first start since September.
That being said, I think once the first 3 drives were over, I think he made plays after he settled in that he wouldn't have made in the past. Breaking out of the pocket to the right, not scrambling, finding his receiver, making a jump pass without crossing the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
He wouldn't have made that play last year. And then the touchdown pass that almost was intercepted, Kyle Shanahan keeps mentioning that he likes that play. And he wouldn't have, I don't think Trey would have attempted that pass last year. Now, it should have been intercepted, but maybe next time he gets the timing right and it's a touchdown pass. It seems like he is improving. And what I would have liked to see is him. I liked how the Raiders let Aiden O'Connell play almost the entire game. I'd like to see the Niners do that with Trey. You're so invested in him. You should have been doing that the last 2 years. In retrospect, all those reps you gave to Nate Sudfeld were useless. Josh Rosen, useless. Like Sam Darnold, we'll see. But for a guy who needs reps and can't get them, preseason games, man. Preseason games. It worked for Aiden O'Connell, that's all I'm going to say.
I mean, Aiden O'Connell looked amazing, didn't he? I mean, he was incredible.
He looked like Brock Purdy.
So much of it is accuracy, touch, and timing. And I think Trey's accurate enough. To me, it's all going to be about the touch and the timing. And timing, like what we saw,
and the decision making, apparently.
But I like his decision making. You got to remember this: this guy did not turn the ball over at all at North Dakota State. Right. This guy was a fantastic. That was one of his strengths coming out, was his decision making ability and keeping balls out of harm's way. But he just the ball came out a little late.
Do we agree though? That the blame should be spread around on the offense? That it wasn't just Trey Lance held the offense back?
I mean, first of all, when Trey was asked about his O-line, which, I mean, I love Zakel as a prospect, but, Chris Forster told us last week he's not there yet, and then we went out and saw it. He's not there yet. And Matt Pryor, I don't know if he ever was there, but he's not there anymore or not there yet. I don't know what, but Pryor and Zakel got whipped on the right side.
See,
and when Trey was asked about it, Grant, did he blame him? No. He said, hey, it's on me. And that's what a leader does.
Right.
But like giving you that touchdown pass, that 1st and goal pass from the 9, Lance fakes the stretch. They're in the 3 wides. Mm-hmm. He fakes the stretch to TDP and then bootlegs off of it. And he's got Dwelly for an easy, touchdown, it looks like. And then Duke Shelley jumps in. Or I should say, he's got Conley in the back of the end zone. Shelley jumps in. He's late with the throw to Conley, just a second late, and Shelley pops it into the air, and it became a lucky touchdown. But that ball came out late. Now I think what Kyle is saying is he likes the idea that Trey's got the guts to throw it in tight windows, and he processed the right guy to go to. His recognition was a hair late.
But isn't it fair? Isn't it fair for a guy who hasn't played in 11 months? I mean, like, we're both saying that the biggest issue with Trey Lance in this game was his timing, which to me is totally predictable given what he's coming back from. I mean, rust is a factor. What I thought was cool was, despite his rust and lack of timing, he was accurate. He was 10 to 15. I mean, this is a guy whose career completion percentage in the NFL is 54. So that's a big step up for him. That's like a Jalen Hurts level-esque improvement, or like a Josh Allen-esque improvement, a guy who is hopelessly inaccurate to being actually pretty accurate. Now he just needs to work on his timing, and I think that should come with reps. If he could get him, I really hope they don't bury him and relegate him to like the 3rd quarter next week so they can give Sam Darnold looks, because
I mean, I was listening to the radio today driving around, and I heard Papa say, Well, Trey looks like is not competing for the number 2 job anymore. He's competing for the number 3 job.
Well, I didn't get that feeling listening to Kyle Shanahan just now. Again,
you didn't.
The most enthusiastic person about Trey's performance yesterday is Kyle. Surprisingly. Make of that what you will.
Well, and exactly. The cynical person says, well, he's never going to say anything real negative. But at the same time,
he hasn't been super positive about Trey in the past.
No.
I was surprised.
I'll say this. I saw enough there that I think that the overwhelming negative pushback post game is all based on the people only see what they see, right? They see the overthrow to Dwelly. They see it. They see the interception that became a touchdown. That was a lucky touchdown. They see, but I thought maybe one of the best plays, the play that I liked the most was the one where he was feeling the pressure, looked left, wasn't there, looked right, wasn't there, felt the pressure, escaped the pocket, scrambled, jumped past to Snead, because that was the kind of resourceful throw that, and the kind of off schedule throw that we hadn't seen a lot from him. And I thought that was a real good throw. I mean, that was a great play for Trey.
Last thing before we move on from Trey. I know I always feel like I'm protecting him. I just feel like it's so predictable. The offense is really bad in the first quarter. To me, the blame should be shared. But nationally, when Colin Cowherd and people like that talk about this game, they're not gonna have that level of nuance, which isn't even that much nuance. It's just watching the game. It's Trey messed up. Trey sucked. It's like, yeah, and so did his offensive line and his receivers and his coach. Like, the blame should be shared, and then they sort of got it together in the second quarter. That's the way I saw it. But it just seems like Trey is the easiest target of all time. He's a really easy target. And for whatever reason, there's a green light on him. It's open season on Trey Lance. I think it's a little gratuitous and over the top, but hey, it's the NFL. I don't know.
Well, we're in a. I mean, this is my take on it. I think we're in a bully culture, and the 49ers, with the presence of Brock and bringing in Darnold, they've told you directly or indirectly that they're not quite sure of Trey Lance, and so everybody from the national media to the fans, they smell. It's like putting a little bit of blood in the water, and they're all sharks, and they know it's.
And the Niners did it.
And it's kind of like when you admit a little bit of blame at an accident. You're like, well, I was looking at my phone, and you were looking at your phone. It was all you. And instead, it's like that's why when people don't like to admit things, they stonewall. They're like, I don't want to admit anything, because they know that it's if you just do a little bit of admission, everybody's going to pile drive you and pile on. And that's what's happening here. People know that the Niners are in kind of a developmental stage with Trey. They know the investment they made in him. They feel like, they're going to be ahead of it and be like, he's a bust. He's a bust. And in reality, we love to draw these super, definitive conclusions. But the reality is, started off, he was rusty. He started off a little slow. He finished fast. He did some bad things. He did some good things. Now it's correct the tape, get ready for next week. And let's see if you can, let's see what it looks like. I think it should look better next week.
Like, remember when Brock Purdy had his first practice of training camp after whatever it was like a 6-month layoff? I think it was 2 for 9. And the next day he was way better. He hasn't had a 2 for 9 day since. So will be interesting to see if Trey Lance has a similar trajectory. He may or may not.